Like any game with trading, Ghost Simulator has various items in the game that are exceedingly rare, so in this video I'll be going over some of the rarest and most interesting items in Ghost Simulator. The first rare items that people usually find in Ghost Simulator are classifieds. These items show up in all the crates and most loot bags and boss chests around the game and have a really low chance of being obtained. Although these items are the rarest items always obtainable in-game, there's a surprising wide degree of rarity between them. Some like Cosmic Wing, which is found in the 11th pet crate, and all the ones from the board crates, are quite common, despite what new players might think from their chances and the gem cost of their crates. This is due to how easily it is for high-tier players to amass billions of gems with nothing else to use them on. They usually end up getting excessive amounts of the high-stat items or the cosmetic boards. Although those classifieds are relatively common, some other classifieds are still quite hard to find, like the recent Grim's Portal added to the Grim loot bag, which since the relative worthlessness of grinding Grim, it's under-obtained. And the two classifieds found in the Void crates, which require either crate keys or crown keys, which take a lot longer to obtain than gems. These three items definitely take the spot for the rarest attainable items in Ghost Simulator currently, with Cloudwave, the pet from the Void crate, being the rarest among them. Although developer chest classifieds are the highest stat pets in the game, and also always obtainable, they're quite a bit more common than any of these three, due to their being more worthwhile to grind for, and actually slightly easier to get. Moving on from the apparent rare items in Ghost Simulator, we start transitioning into limited items. This is the section of items that usually ends up with the rarest items in games with trading, and Ghost Simulator is no exception. The most commonly thought of items when people mention limited in Ghost Simulator are those that come from the limited store and rotate every other week, specifically the older ones from the shop. Some of these items can be rare, even rarer in some cases than some of the classifieds, especially if they look bad or came out during a dip in play rates. One of the, if not the rarest item in this category is the Godly Board Tree Branch, released during the 2019 Christmas event. The board is a barren Christmas tree, which looks quite bland. Although quite rare and valuable, there is likely hordes of 3, 5, even potentially 10 plus of these items somewhere. These items, although they can be quite valuable, aren't contenders with the next variety of items we'll be looking at due to their availability to anyone to buy with Robux, and also because of I mentioned earlier, or next we start getting into the items that constitute the majority of the rarest items in the game, all of which come from the older events of Ghost Simulator, more specifically the Halloween 2019 event. The reason why this specific event has so many rare items from it isn't much of a surprise. It was the first big event in Ghost Simulator, with the previous two events having much fewer items, more geared towards the average player. This event used a new boss concept where players had a battle for keys. These battles took around 15 minutes to complete and only awarded players one key at the end of them. 2 if the player had spent 800 Robux for the event pass. Now it's easy to see why these items that you needed these keys for ended up as some of the rarer items, since there was no way to buy keys with Robux options like in later events. Among the more common of these items include Midnight, Silkweaver, and the Godlies from the candy crates, which have recently started getting some demand from new collectors since they're hard to find. Despite this, there are other items from this event that are worth more than most people's entire inventories, mine included. They come from the 25 and 250 key crates from this event, and the more tame of them easily claim top spots in the value tier list. Mini Hollows is probably the most common out of them, since it had good stats for the time, and many people grinding wanted something helpful. The more rare items of Reach and Crawler, both Godlies from the 25 crate chest, were difficult to pull, and had the bonus difficulty of people gunning for 250 rather than anything from that chest. The last item from this event is arguably the most valuable item in Ghost Simulator, and as most of you could have guessed from the beginning, Darkwing. This is the mythical board from the event, and despite players like me who were aware of value, knowing during the event that this would be insanely valuable later on, I actually attempted to grind for this item myself during the event, ended up 100 keys short, and ended up buying 6 25 chests. This item was mostly ignored in favor of the pet, a trend followed in every event so far. As a whole, I would guess there are approximately 10 known Darkwings in the community, with very few, if any, belonging to currently active players. At best, there may be 20 Darkwings in the entire game. Most on players that will never play. This is easily the rarest item in Ghost Simulator, barring some special cases we'll get to later. The next set of items is actually a strange one, being items from codes. Most players, when they first hear this, likely only know the codes that are available for anyone in the group to enter, and are surprised that they would make the list. Now, although some of these code items are rare, like Lil Buddy or the Hot Hoverboard, since all you needed to have them was to be playing while the code was around, and to not delete it, none of them are what makes the list rare. Rather, we are taking a look at the codes that are special for special roles in the group. Since the beginning of Ghost Simulator, there have been 2 roles that have got special codes for being part of the group, testers and influencers. The codes for the roles have actually changed since Ghost Simulator began. The more common these 2 roles, testers, originally starting with the item Alpha, which since it became limited has grown a lot in value, although its actual rarity is debatable due to the hoarding. The current item for tester is Alpha Vortex, a board with similar features to the original Alpha and still quite valuable. Between the two, despite Alpha easily being worth more, Alpha Vortex is probably the overall rarer, since when Ghost Simulator originally came out, there were over 100 testers and a lot more players in the game. Along with that, more testers joined the ranks before it got discontinued, causing that number to likely be greater than 200. Despite being role-locked, this item was traded around quite a bit during the game's early days. Alpha Vortex, on the other hand, entered the game during a pretty mellow stage when there are only around 50 current testers and little added or removed. The other role, Influencers, though, is an entirely different story. The switch of items for Influencer happened around the same time as the switch for testers, with the new items Vlad Flame and Vlad Rider being untradeable, meaning no one cares about the rarity or value. The older items for this role, though, the YouTuber board and Fire Pegasus, have always been tradable, and because of this are considerable candidates for rarity, since many of these items have gone to inactive accounts as the game has slowed down. Despite being less rare than Darkwing, these items hold more value in the Ghost Simulator economy due to demand and being role-locked originally. At this point in the video, I do want to mention I have used the word value and rarity somewhat similar. They're 2 different concepts, and anytime I do mention value, I'm kind of guessing a little bit, so I might be wrong when I do mention value. Although all the items talked about so far make up the most valuable and sought after items in Ghost Simulator, believe it or not, there are technically rare items in the game. These items aren't different items from what is already in the game, but rather normal items with a weird quirk. They are level 0. Normally pets in Ghost Sim start at level 1, but for a brief time, developers spawned items for rewards and other things were added to players' inventories at level 0, meaning they couldn't be leveled up, had lower stats than usual, and were quite special. The majority of these items came into existence during the 2019 Christmas event, when Bloxbyte hosted an art contest and had several prizes for the winning submissions in Discord. All of the pets won during this contest got added to the players' inventories at level 0. In total, there are around 10 known special items in this category, with most, around 7, being ringers, a common prize in the contest. One being an alpha given an unrelated incident, and another being a mini Scrooge, one of the grand prizes for the contest, and the last one being a snowflake. There was also a level 0 Holly, but it ended up getting deleted. Since these items are mistakes, and just like any other pet of their kind, other than the small detail of their level, they don't have any demand and are more of a trivial trophy for those who have them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing about the rarest items in Ghost Simulator. If there's any that you think I've missed or I labeled wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments. With that, I will hopefully see you guys in my next video or stream. Maybe I'll end up streaming some of the Riley quest lines, since that seems to be a pretty grindy thing in Ghost Simulator. But, bye!